Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 5 of The Head Coach. My name's Daniel, and coming up today, we begin our run-in in our Vanarama National League campaign with an away trip to Boreham Wood. But first, since you were last with us, you can see things have continued to carry on where they left off. They're going rather well. We're up in 4th in the league. We're in the playoffs, maybe not quite as comfortably as we were with Bognor last year, but we certainly look good for a place in the top 7 come the end of the season. You can also see the key man has most definitely been Jake Hyde. As I mentioned briefly in one of the previous episodes, he is top of everything that matters player stat-wise. Assists, goals, average rating, pass completion and man of the match awards, He is absolutely a street above the rest, and it was our director of football's first attempted signing, so we have to give him some credit for that. But let's see how we got to this position in the league by looking at what's happened since you were last with us. In the last episode we had the double bill of draws at home to Hartlepool and Ebbsfleet, two of the sides also up in that top 7. Since then we've had a largely good run yet again. We've won 6 of the last 8 games. We can't complain at all. We did have a couple of disappointing defeats, but let's have a quick look through them. We won comfortably at Sutton with a Younger getting another goal. He'd started to hit a patch of form there. We absolutely battered Macclesfield with a Younger getting 2 more, Jake Hyde on the score sheet a couple of times, and even Manny Parry got on the score sheet there. We lost narrowly at Southport, but again Hyde was in form with 2 more goals before he went and scored the winner against Torquay as well. We did lose a disappointing match at home to Tranmere. We had a bit of a crisis, and you might notice a new player on the team sheet at that point, but we'll come to that in a minute. But since then, with 3 on the bounce, we won at home to St Albans, one of the sides that caused us so many problems at Bognor last year and beat us in the playoffs, of course, with Ryan Bird taking over the goal scoring duties as Jake Hyde was out injured. We then beat Eastleigh 1-0 with Toby Show-Silver, the reserve striker, getting a rare outing and goal off the bench. And then we comfortably beat York with Bird, a Younger and Pinnock all getting on the score sheet. So things are in rather good shape as we move into this game against Boreham Wood today. But before we do so, we've also got a couple of transfers to tell you about, both in and out. So if we go and have a look at what's been happening, we've got one out of the club, Connor Essam, the club captain. He was causing a bit of trouble. He was moaning about his first team football. He was the 4th best centre-half at the club, and with Galafuco coming back from injury, we've let him go to Nuneaton on a free. The director of football arranged the transfer. I think we're still paying about £100 of his wages, but he was on £600 or £700 a week. So it's a huge difference for us, and it's almost brought us back into the black for wages. But we've got 2 ins, and they're the most important ones. So we had a bit of a disaster where Josh Passley came off injured, and he was out for 5 to 8 months with a fractured skull. So we had to get in an emergency replacement right back. The director of football bought this lad Alex Pike in on trial within a couple of days and signed him during the week as well. So he's a 3.5-star current ability right back with 4.5-star potential. He's arguably a little bit better than Passley and has been solid if not spectacular so far. Importantly, he's only on £325 a week. He can play anywhere across the back 4 and in central midfield if needed, and he's going to be a fantastic addition to this team. But as well as him, we've brought in a superstar on loan, and the only problem is he doesn't fit into our system. So his name is Ilias Chair, I'm going to presume that's pronounced as. He's a 4.5-star current ability player with 5-star potential. He's a fantastic player. Technically he's brilliant. He's quick. He's a little tricky winger, but he's a right-footed only. You can't play on the natural left of a 4. He can only play in the attacking role with 3 in behind the striker. He can also play in the attacking midfield central role, but we don't play with that either, as you know. So he has been making a few sub-appearances in central midfield and also on the left of midfield, even though he's not naturally able to play there. You can see we've been using him off the bench. He's got a couple of assists. He's a good creative player to bring on if games are tight, and he has made a bit of a difference so far. So if we could go up and then keep him, that would be even better because we could work him into our system next year. But as it is, he'll just be a bit of an impact player at the moment. But it's worked so far. So they're the 2 ins. We've had one other event since our last episode, which of course is Youth Intake Day. So we've had our next lot of youth prospects come through. There's nothing as exciting as there was at Bognor. The only talent really from the group is this Cameron Thomas. He's a left midfielder. We didn't have a backup left midfielder before, but now Chair's playing there, so he's not really going to get a game for now. He's 1.5-star current abilities, 3.5-star potential. He's probably not going to make it. He's got a poor personality, which we'll get some tutoring on, and he doesn't really look anything special, to be honest, so we probably won't see much of him, particularly in this journeyman save where we might not be at the club for many years. Hopefully we'll get a big move in the summer, but I doubt that'll happen that quickly. The last thing we're going to look at before we go into the game today is dynamics. Obviously, we lost our club captain, Connor Essam. That's a bit of a tongue twister. The club captain, I should say. So we've had a relatively good run. So the dressing room atmosphere is good. The support for me is now good. My reputation is just starting to catch up with the conference standard, and our match cohesion's good because we've been playing with probably the most settled side we've ever seen at this level for this season. Hierarchy's a bit of a problem. We've lost our only team leader. We've got a few highly influential players that could make their way up soon. So Mitch Brundle, obviously the captain and the star man in midfield, and Mitch Walker, who deserves a special mention because he broke the club's league appearance record. He's made 229 league appearances now. The previous record was 225. It says he's only conceded 81 goals, but bear in mind they don't count them on Football Manager for the years before the playable game. So he's been conceding at about one a game, which is fine. But it doesn't look quite as remarkable as it was there. But he has been a great servant for the club, and his reflexes are brilliant. His shot-stopping ability is fantastic, and we hope he'll be here for a lot longer, although we're of course not in charge of that. There are a couple of little negatives. Obviously, we mentioned that Passley was out injured, and he's one of two or three, to be honest. So we'll go and have a look at the medical centre. You can see our current injuries. We've got Passley, he's still got 3 to 5 months out. Jake Hyde, the key man, he's still got 3 weeks to go. You could see he hadn't played the last 3 games, so he's been out a little while. And Luke Wanadio's been out about a month as well, and he is still missing for a couple of games. Alex Pike's been forced to play with a gashed head because he's the only right back we've got, and there's plenty of players who are high injury risk going into this game, which is a bit concerning as we haven't got too many more players to choose from. But nevertheless, we're still positive with the way things are going. Lastly, on the negative front, we've got a bit of a crisis with our director of football in offering contracts. If we have a look at what he's been doing, it's not a lot is the answer. We had a few players here who are already on 2-year deals, and obviously ones like Pike who have come in very recently are on the deal till the end of next season. But we've still got a lot of players who are out of contract this summer, so obviously we mentioned Mitch Walker, the star in goal, our backup keeper Chris Lewington, and a few other good players, Ayunga and Wanadio in particular, and also Liam Bellamy, who we're not too worried if he goes now, to be honest. I'm hoping he'll rectify that sooner rather than later, but again, the chances of us being at Dover next year are only 50-50, depending on the interest we get. We're achieving above expectations, so hopefully we will get a bigger offer. We have had one job interview since you were last with us at League One Northampton, but we were very quickly ruled out for that after our interview. We'll go and see if there are any jobs about now, just to see what's going around. This is the sort of time of year where you can apply for a job and then you can still ask to take it on next year. You can see probably just the one appropriate job there, which is Southend. It might be a bit too soon for us as well to get that jump to League One. They've got insecure finances as well, and if we want to make that step up, we want it to be either because we're offered the job, because the club wants us, or because we've got a chance to take things forward. If we look at our reputation, it's not particularly good still. It still says none. It has crept up a tiny bit, and some of our stats are as well, but we're still a long way off being a consolidated football league manager. We probably need to manage a game there first. You can see, as is usually the case with me on this game, I've built up a huge list of people who hate me and only a very small one of the people who like me, but it's Chris Hughton who's the main man, so his opinion's the most important. But let's get into this game against Boreham Wood as we begin our run-in. I've picked the game with 10 games to go, as we did against St Albans last year for Bognor Regis. It's where things all started to fall apart, so hopefully the same won't happen this time. And you can see we actually go into this as favourites with Boreham Wood down in 16th, but we really need to keep the pressure on if we're going to cement a playoff place. Again, we're overachieving. If we finish in the top half, we've still done remarkably well. But it's just the gap between 8th and 9th is so big that it would be sad to be the team that misses out. But let's get into this game. We'll get through the lineup very quickly. We've got Walker, the record appearance maker, in goal. A back four of Pike, Parry, Casey and Hammerlinen. A four in midfield of Tracy, Brundle, Ashby and Pinnock. And a front two of Ayunga and Bird, who continues to deputise with the absence of Jake Hyde. We've got a bench of Ilasami, Chair, Bellamy, Galifuco, who's back from injury but not back in the side, and our reserve striker, Show Silver, who scored in the last couple of games. So let's get into it. We're still playing longer ball football. I'm still smashing the space bar. It's very sensitive on this new computer. So unfortunately, you'll still probably hear me hitting it for the next couple of weeks until I learn to be a bit more careful. But both teams playing a 4-4-2. We're looking like we want to prove a point. We've won 3 games in a row, so I don't know what that point is. Maybe that we can win 4 in a row. But let's get straight into it then and see if we can have the same run of form as we've had off camera recently. Let's get into it. Boreham would have got the early possession. Oh, I still love this HD. I can't get used to it. It's such a step up. It's lovely. Mitch Walker with a long clearance. It's been cleared away by Boreham Wood, and that highlight ends with nothing happening. We've got an early set piece, though. Can we get it into the box with Brundle? We can. It's dropped down to Bird, but he missed the header by the looks of things. And now Boreham Wood are countering on us again. It's been a trouble we've had this season. We leave too many men up for set pieces and get caught out on the break. But Pinnock got back brilliantly there and hoofs the ball long. Andrade brings it forward with Murta again, and they're just coming at us again. It's time to mention that 2 banks of 4, and it's not done anything this time. It's an early lead for Boreham Wood. It was a great cross in, to be fair, but he shouldn't be unmarked from 4 yards out at this stage of the game. And 10 minutes in, we're a goal down and haven't looked lively at all yet. We seem to be going even longer than normal today, and normally we're at least hitting them up to people's heads and chests, but today it's just going out straight to their defenders, and we've looked relatively poor starting so far. Don't know if there's a bit of complacency creeping in, but if we do, we're going to be that team in 8th place, as Walker has to make another save, but luckily Nelson was offside. Hammerlinen with a clearance this time to Pinnock. Can Bird hold it up? Hasn't had a chance yet, but he does this time. He finds Pinnock. It's a long ball into Ayunga, who's through 1-on-1, but he's offside as he hit the post anyway. That's a shame. It's the first time we've got him behind. It's the one benefit to having Ayunga in the team, as we get a warning about Nelson after the goal as usual. But Ayunga having that extra pace has made a difference in a couple of the games. But away from home, I prefer to have the target holding it up. As Boreham Wood come forward again with a set piece, but we head away. And now Bird, can he get the ball forward? He finds Pinnock on the left wing, who goes to Ayunga, and that's a lovely little turn into Bird, but the pass is awful. We had another warning there, so let's go and update that one while we're there. A couple of warnings, in fact. We're only watching Boreham Wood counter us again, so we're not missing too much. Ferrier now the controversial man with the controversial agent, and he's shot miles wide. It's looking a bit disappointing for us with 5 minutes till half time. Nothing's really happened. That's probably the best shot we've had all game. In fact, it's the only shot we've had, as Tracy shoots from 30 yards out, and it's almost a pass back to the keeper. It's been all Boreham Wood. We can have no complaints about this result so far, and it's all a bit puzzling considering the last few games, to be honest, as Ferrier gets through again, but thankfully he was just offside. It's been so disappointing this half. We've been in great form. We were even playing good football against York, but it's all gone wrong here against a boring mid-table side as well. Andrade again, he's caused us a few problems on that right wing. The long ball's blocked, and can we bring it forward? No, we can't. We lost it again, but we have won it back this time with Ashby. He's got a chance to bring it forward, but it's a very slow build-up as Bird loses the ball again. He's not holding it up. Nelson's in, and thankfully his finish is woeful this time. But he's caused us a lot of trouble today, and we look lucky to be 1-0 down at the break. Ashby with a free kick, back to the edge of the box to Tracy, who's gone miles wide. I don't know why they won't just put it in the box. That's what they're set to do, but they still pass it to the edge every time. It is half time, we're 1-0 down, and we are very much saying that was a disappointing performance. I might even get aggressive that time. So most of the players are motivated now, and hopefully that'll show its difference in the second half. But I wouldn't bank on it. I'm back in pessimistic mood after that performance. It's this time of last season where things went wrong. The 4-4-2 started to fall about. We got questioned in the media. We were all falling apart, and I think the same could happen this year. We're just running out of steam, and the injuries, particularly not having Jake Hyde, has made such a difference. Ryan Bird has been good for us this season, but he's not in the same league as Jake Hyde, particularly in front of goal and in the air. And Ferrier's had another free shot from 8 yards, but thankfully Walker's made a good save. We're 5 minutes away from substitutions, and it's going to be a triple bill, I think. I mean, you can look at Bird, that's absolutely awful. We could choose from anyone in that front six, to be honest. I think Pinnock's been the only one who's looked relatively composed, and we're going to make them subs now. We're not going to leave it any longer. Show Silva, he got one recently, can he get another? Josh Ashby, he's been the worst of the four in midfield, so we'll bring Chair on. We're going to change things up a bit. We're going to go without a holding midfielder and see what he can do from there. And we're going to take, I was going to say we're going to take Tracy off, but we haven't got anyone to come on the right now, which I keep forgetting. Oh, I don't know what to do with the third one. Could we bring Bellamy on as well? But he's such a step down from Brundle. I think what we'll do is we'll leave it 10 minutes and see if we need to bring on another one. We could always put Bellamy in the middle and put Chair out wide then. But we've got to look like scoring a goal before that. That's the biggest challenge for us so far. We've had one shot on target in the game, which was an awful shot from Tracy. And we've had one other shot, which was a 30-yard effort wide, hopelessly, from Tracy. We haven't got the ball into the strikers, and we hadn't had shots on goal. Pike gets the header away, and it's just fallen straight to him again, and they're camping out in our half and making things look really easy. They probably were a bit worried about this game before it started, but this has probably been a stroll in the park for him. It's been an easy game, and we've allowed it to happen. So we're the ones to blame. We've got nobody else that we can. But Hammerlining clears now. Can we get forward? We've got to counter with Show Silver. A younger can take him on, use his pace, but he doesn't. He decides to try and pass the ball through the eye of a needle, and it's intercepted easily. And they can counter attack and run through us for fun now. Nelson luckily tries to shoot from distance and it's wide, but what an awful performance. We're going to put the now injured Chair out on the left. We're going to bring on Bellamy. We'll go back to our deep lying playmaker and see if it makes any difference. What a disappointing performance this has been, and all of that positivity that had built up over the last few days has just gone now. And we look like we're going to crumble at the end. I'm guessing the gap to the playoff will come down. I can see Hartlepool 2-1 up. They were in 8th before the game. Show Silver got through there, but you can see the difference between him and Jake Hyde, can't you? He put it miles wide. It was a really easy chance. Reminds me a bit more of Ibra Sakaja from last year, who ironically is playing in this league now as well with Bath City. In stoppage time, nothing's happened. We don't deserve to get anything out of the game, and that's a good job because we're not going to. As Brundle, with the last chance, chips a free kick straight into the keeper's hands. Another lovely back pass. It's full time. We've lost 1-0. It was an awful performance, and we really didn't deserve anything more out of that. And the only other thing to come from it is we've picked up another injury to one of our star impact men, so that's a bit of a shame as well. But what an awful game. We're going to moan at them. They deserve it after that performance. That's a bit of arrogance creeping in. We've gone down 1 place to 5th. We're still 3 points clear of now 8th place Tranmere, but it looks like we're going to be the side to drop out. We're starting to show signs of weakness, and it always seems to fall apart at this time of the year. Let's just see what they've said about the game. It's a deserved win. As I said, we can't argue with that. Let's see how bad the injury is. 5 to 8 days. I don't know if we've got a midweek game. We haven't, so he should only miss the one against Maidenhead and be back for the Wrexham game, who are top of the table at the moment. If we can't beat the bottom side Maidenhead next week without him, then we have got to worry and reevaluate our season goals. Let's have a look at the schedule then. We've only got 9 games to go. We'll do the same as last year. If something exciting's going to happen, we'll come back in between. If not, we'll be back for the final game or two of the season, depending on how circumstances are working out in the league. But that will be all from this episode. If you have enjoyed it, please put a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel and chuck that notification bell on for regular content from Football Manager, including this head coach series. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.